Welcome to Steve's show. Well, welcome to Steve and Alfred show from Echo Radio, your number one station for Africans living abroad. I am yours truly, Steve, and we have Alfred from our Washington studio who's going to be joining us. Alfred, are you there? So I am Steve, and you are?
I am Alfred, and welcome to Steve and Alfred show.
So from the both of us, we welcome you to Steve and Alfred's show.
Yep.
I hope, I'm getting some instructions out here. Today we have a great show in stock for you, but before we get into the show, let us take this opportunity to welcome you officially to our show in this very bright new year. We wish you a very happy and prosperous new year. We were here with you last week and we shared 2020 with you. Some of you gave us your stories and we were able to have some excellent guest panel that we discussed what the year 2020 had in stock and all that there was with the year 2020. Here we are today in the year 2021. Regardless of what we may have gone through, we are so blessed to be here today in a bright new year. We hope you had a very wonderful New Year celebration, and we are so glad that you are joining us on our bright new year show. I will turn it over to Alfred with his intro.
Thank you, Steve. And I also wanted to welcome everybody to the show. This is our first show in a year. And I'll be joining Steve going forward to host this show on Mondays. And today we have a very interesting show for you. We have a guest who's very smart on this topic, and she's going to help us navigate the stimulus package. Without much ado, I think, Steve, I'm ready to start whenever you're ready. Welcome, and stay tight. Tell your friend to tell your friend that Steve and Alfred show has just started, and we have a wonderful guest for you today. Steve?
Absolutely. Yama Obia Kwaba Bio Eba Steve ne Alfred Jumedie ne so and send your deka can the Steve and Aminia Alfred and so FA Washington DC Yama Obia Kwaba Yama Obia so official. Last week's Sebre ni yeti Hanoma ye king komo efa the year 2020 Mumu bebre ekaya ema ye di 2020 komo panelists yenya omunyina doctors phone kwan on mobile show isu and I omni be etwitwen komo afa year 2020 so nyame aye yadom enen so de ene ache ya ene ye wo afifu from ye official pa enti my Emobia afishapa. You hope say bibia we bia ne bibia koye. Anko ye kra na nyame aye ya dom ya wadi afifufro eye nyina ya friends ya behiem ewo afifufure mu nti emobia afishapa yo bobia obi bia wabɔ ho pae anase wakaso emrem this year ne ye bɔ so mpae ama se bibia na abekoso wa ya da mase bebre na yesrɛ mo a Facebook no mo share link no se na Africa and then come on e nkomo papa enu abetwitwi se yeti se ye Congress and paying for no oma pass bibia ye friend stimulus package and then ye betwitwi mu ye bobo so near baba mo na ya hwɛ near etue mu nyina nte ne nkɔmɔ no ehu hia papa nti mama nti Mr. mo Facebook no mo start mo say Nana Kwame Amankwa so why ready Patience Lochu that's roda and so our line so ya da mase bebre so mu nyina ma be hie yo anyame me dem of ya mo yo ten wonder mo fia mo hyin ake nyimo kan me ne ho eke wo ne me ne ho ba pe afi last week be na ni be wo kan yen gbasa ne ke 2020 no me be na ni me wo 2020 me wo le boni ta call it afi e ba gbe ne ha shinyimo aduro wo e ha ne me ne ho sa wo ba pe ye bi ni wo ye afi ehemi yo wonder nyu mo hyin wo da nyu mo hyin shinye fine mo fia mo ni yo Facebook enye share link o koni mo fia mo abotu ngene wo bagbasa ne ke chon stimulus package ni Congress e pass ni president enu me get sign ni shi wole no ni ba e fi anke moko kele iwe lo nyu mo kele iwe ni enye e sign no bia na no ji no ni wo bagba e sign ake ni bi baba o ye ni wo ngene wo ye guess ni je echenchon inyemi Alfred ke ekeleba chonwo no anye na shi won panyefai mofia mo share link ha wo nye share link echenchon wa gbele phone line se ko ni ko no ko bi mu o wa anyo obi yo nye won da mofia mo shi wada nye shi wa de je no bio leke lo Abraham Gadogo la fia nyenko enye efo Steve ye mi afoga Alfred ha nyamale Chicago ya le Washington DC egba mi aba studio abazo mi mama deva the color Chicago ye the kahala Washington DC fifia mi aba show abazo Steve and Alfred show ye tama jijiga fun de ye ha abakaji abakono na mi so ye hugba gangaga ma odoba yide Alfred yema mi se vanko inyu yi mi atakpe ka na mawu ba eko aganami egba ye wo kplomi tso apekoko amebado de ape ye yame ye ta mi atakpe ne mi takpe ga na mawu ye mi aga de kuku ne alo mi aga do gbera ba ameshame ke le kaji ameshame ke todo mi de na mi akoye ba gbe kokota shine ne wa kplomi abale ko kplomi tso apekoko amebado ba ga de ape ye yame de ne wa ga kplomi ne ma ke mi aga ga de ape ye nde shade ke mi bia ko de mi ata mi adogbera de mi ata ba de nde shade na va ma mi adna gbeduna de mi ata ne mi hande shade mi bia ko de nde shade na va mo lo akpe na mi marko mi take a short break de ne mi fa de ne mi aje wona ntogom agba mega yede te pare ko lo marko mi share mi abelink mi share link na ma share na asa wono na mi awo eta mi aide a small break at the nimi atroba nemi aje wona ntonto akpelo marako miawe le toji alo miawe enukpon mi dakpe na mi ba mi akata mi ba kpere mi anwo otroya. You are listening to Steve and Alfred show from Akko Radio, number one station for Africans living abroad. We're just going to take a very short break, and when we come back, Alfred and I will talk about how our new year went about, and then we would bring our guest in this afternoon. So please don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. Please just share the link if you can. If you need to get a word also, don't be long. We'll be right back after this very short.
Charlie, where I go now? If you come out, they see people they sick, I'm bored in the house, so I feel like Charlie, make I just send a message out, you know? So how for do? Let's see how this one goes, yeah? I mean, you hear of that sickness that they call the Koro, I don't know what it is. But corona.
Welcome back to Steve and Alfred show from Chicago and Washington, D.C. I do see we have Nana Kwame Amankwa. It says Wakiki is watching with you. And Patience Lochu is also watching with us. That's Rodaleke and Jermamiga Dogokpo. Olivia Nyamedi Banini is also watching. And Hannah Abna is also watching. Hannah says, hello, Hannah. And Josephine Kumson is also watching. And my dearest friend, Evelyn, the classic Adra, is also watching. Shata Hassan is watching. And John Kabi, you are all watching. We want to welcome all of you to Steve's show. Let me go to our studio in the Washington, D.C. to my co-host. Sir Alfred, how are you doing out there, sir?
Just relaxing, watching you. Welcome all our viewers and anticipating all the fun stuff we'll be talking about today.
So how was your New Year, man?
I actually celebrated, you won't believe this, I celebrated my New Year just by myself. The family went to New York, so I stayed here indoor by myself, didn't go nowhere, watched TV, and caught some of the tapes that the president released recently, and that kept me laughing through the rest of the week.
I see. Yeah, same here. I didn't do anything. I stayed indoor, and I toast to all of you. I toast to you. I had one for you, and I toasted to all my friends and everyone. And and I just stayed indoor. I watched the how do you call it? The New York ball. The New York
ball drop.
Yes, the ball drop, and then I started by watching some of the events that was going on in Europe, in France, and then some few places before we got to New York, and then I revert to Chicago. There wasn't much going on in Chicago. I just stayed indoor and just watched TV and had a few for everyone. Right. So we want to thank Royal Remittance, the better way to send money. We thank them so much for their sponsorship. So we thank World Remittance. So we have a great show in stock today. Can you tell us about what we intend to discuss and who we have the pleasure of having with us today to help us get through this the topic of the day?
Thank you so much for that. So today's topic is going to be about the stimulus package. We know when coronavirus started that there was a first stimulus package that was passed. Now there is a second one. And so we want to look at that second one and see if there is any money in it for individuals, our viewers, if they should be expecting to receive any money out of that, if there will be any money set aside for small businesses. And we have a CPA in the person of Lily Binglow, who will be helping us. I'm going to have Lily introduce herself, but the topic today is the stimulus package, the new law that was released, and what is in it for our viewers and even ourselves.
All right, so before we bring Lily on.
Yeah,
we've heard about stimulus package in the past. We knew we had was it the CARES Act? Then we're supposed to have the HEROES Act, and then the HEROES Act fell apart. And this very one, they started negotiating it for quite a while, and it looked like it wasn't going anywhere prior to the election. And after the elections, Congress, for some miraculous reason, began to tackle it again, and then they went to put it all together. The president didn't seem too interested in negotiating. He just left it to Congress and his comments and secretary to discuss it. And then they came up with a package. And then when they came up with a package that passed the House and passed the Senate, it came to signing it into law. And the president said, no, he doesn't like the bill. And he kicked it back to Congress and said, you guys should work on it. I want $2,000 renegotiated for for a check that was supposed to come to all individuals. So he kicked it back. And we know Nancy Pelosi jumped all over it and said, look, we told you guys so, man. We told you that wasn't much. But the Senate wasn't buying it, right? So here we are. The president somehow left town, went on his vacation, went on vacation to Mar-a-Lago, and the bill somehow made it to Mar-a-Lago in Florida. And we woke up one Sunday morning, and the bill has been signed. So now let's bring on Lily to help us to tell us what the bill entails and what can we expect out of the bill. So Alfred, can you please welcome our beautiful, gorgeous CPA Lily to the show, please?
And can you hear me? Lily, welcome to the show. And this is the Steve and Alfred show going forward. We want you to enjoy your time on the show, but also we want you to help us with a lot of the answers that we'll be having for our questions. So so Lily, if you don't mind, can you introduce yourself so I don't mess up any of your credentials?
Oh my God. First of all, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Alfred, for having me on. I'm truly honored. You guys are amazing. I've just been sitting back here enjoying the show so far. And so my name is Lily Binglow. I'm a licensed CPA. I provide tax, accounting services, consulting services, business startups, and even nonprofit startup and consulting to nonprofits, individuals, and businesses. I have a company called the ARC NPS, and we're currently located in Virginia, in Houston, and in Chicago. We have offices in these three places. So that's a little bit about me. I'm very passionate about helping our community, especially, African-owned businesses to thrive, to take, not just take advantage, but be informed about, the things that are beneficial to them as far as taxes, as far as planning, as far as just, different laws. And so this is such an honor to be here to talk about something that is impacting everyone right now. And I hope to share my little knowledge, and hopefully someone can leave with something. Thank you again for having me.
All right. Okay. So I know, the listeners are really interested in this new law and if there is any direct payment coming to them. You have read the law. You are a CPA. I'm sure you have a really good understanding of this law. How much is coming to the average person who is watching in form of direct payment?
Okay. So this time around, unlike the first, each individual is only getting $600. So if you're a single person, you get $600. But if you're married as couples, you get $600 each. That's $1,200. What is great about it this time is for children. Last time you only got $500 per dependent, per your child that is under 18 years old, or a college student that you claim as a dependent on your taxes. Now it was increased by $100. So for every child or every dependent that you have, you get $600 for them. So if you have 4 kids, man, you're sitting on a lot of money. So you and your spouse, you're getting $1,200, and then you're getting $600 for each of your kids, which is $2,400 for your kids only. So bringing that together, about $3,600, which is pretty good. As far as the limits of what you can get, if you make under $75,000 as a single person, you qualify to get this money. If you're a couple, you make $150,000 or less, you qualify to get the full $1,200. And then if you're a head of a household, which means probably a single parent or someone who has dependents or people that rely on you for provision, for you to take care of them, provide room over their heads and all of that. So long as you make under $112,500, you still qualify for the money as well.
Right. Just listening to you, I wonder how did they even get all these limits? Steve, do you have a follow-up question on that for our panelists?
Well, we are so glad to have a CPA on show with us. I think we ended the year with a bang and we are starting the year great. Here we have
Yes.
a pro trying to break down the stimulus package, and we began by talking about what is in it for you directly. She's
Yeah.
giving us some very interesting numbers. I don't know which one I should be, if I should be a single or if I should be a household, or if I should have 4 kids. I don't know. I need to go back and talk to my accountant and see what I should be, because the numbers are really, really juicy. I see. Yeah, some of my friends of Facebook already saying, "Oh yeah, so I have 4 kids and I have another one that seems to be like mine. I'm not sure. I think it's about time I need to claim. It's about time I need to claim that job very quickly." I think Ahima
Yes.
Sarah puts your act at pack.com online.
Yes.
We thank Ahima Sarah for putting that on there for us. And then Eddie Redigros is also online with us, and James is also online, and Fred is joining us all the way from Fred is joining us all the way from Ghana. So yeah, Fred is joining us all the way from Ghana. Fred says, why can't we have that extend to Africa? Okay, so Fred is actually joining us all the way from Ghana. So Lily, so Fred is asking, why don't we have that extended to Africa, so that those of them in in Ghana or thereabout also enjoying this stimulus package. So we appreciate Fred. Look, just like Fred send the comments, all of you on the Facebook, you can send in your live feed, and then we would read it out for you, or we'll share it with everyone out there so that you can all participate in it as well. So please send in your comments, send in your questions. Fred is asking some more questions. We will get to Fred in a little bit. So Lilith, you were introducing yourself and you told us a little bit about what you do and what you have done so far. But if I can ask you a follow back question
Okay.
on what you have given us so far. So, what qualifications does one need to have a direct, to receive a direct payment from the IRS? Do you need
Oh,
any
that's good.
qualifications to be able to
That's
get it?
good.
You have told us about some of the
Yeah.
what comes to you, but what
Yes.
necessarily do you have to do, or do you have to
Yes.
have any qualification for any of
Oh,
this to come to you?
I'm glad you asked that, Steve. So actually, you don't have to even do anything. So if you filed your taxes in 2019 and you received the first stimulus check, then you have nothing to do. But if you and you have and the IRS has your direct deposit information from your taxes, then you're good. However, if you were someone who received the check and you have moved, then you would have to go into their system to change your address. For people that did not receive the first check, for other reasons, there were a few reasons why some people couldn't get it. And let's say you had not filed your tax then and you're trying to catch up right now, so long as you've provided that information to the IRS, you should be able to get that check. So you don't necessarily have to do anything per se if you've gotten it before. But if you've not, then this is a good time to go into their system, update your account information or your change of address if you're getting a physical check.
Okay, so Lily, we have we have a comment from Facebook, and let me read this. I'm sure you can see it, but this is coming from a dear friend of mine, Evelyn, from the Chicago area. She says, one of my college dependents did not get the first stimulus check. Why? Is there a possibility that she can have it this time?
Oh, please, Evelyn, if you can provide a little bit of clarity here, I think it would help. I don't know if college dependent means it's Evelyn's dependent. That's in the sense that Evelyn claimed this college student on her tax return. If Evelyn did, then the student cannot get the money. However, if Evelyn has a kid, a son or daughter that is a college student, but did not claim them on their tax return, and maybe they didn't get the first stimulus because they did not file taxes, they can go ahead and file their taxes and be able to receive the second one. And what's even beautiful is that when they file their 2020 taxes, they will still get the one that they did not receive in the first round.
Okay, so if I understood it correctly, so let's take this in Evelyn's case, for example. So she
Okay.
had a dependent, and
Yes.
for some reason the dependent did not. She did not state if, I'm assuming she didn't get it either, and we do not know if that dependent did file taxes or not. So, gleaning from what you said, the caveat is that you have to have filed taxes in some form or shape for the IRS to have your record to enable them, send you a check. Would that be correct in saying so?
Absolutely. And even if you didn't file taxes, you should have been on Social Security or something like that, where you're getting something from the IRS and they have your information. Evelyn just sent a follow-up message saying she's 19 and depends on me. So normally you get these checks for your dependents that are under 18. Now, if they are college students and they depend on you, they cannot get the money because they did not file for themselves. You are the one who claimed them. So they cannot get the money.
I
So
see.
I guess the question to Evelyn is: did she receive the money for the dependent?
Yes. That's a good question. Did you receive?
Did you receive some extra money that you don't know where it came from?
Yes.
Okay, so Evelyn said, I did. I have filed. She said she did file her in 2019 though, but the checks were disbursed in 2020. So, okay, so I guess if Evelyn needed some more clarification, she needs to get in touch with you so
Can
you
do
can go
that.
into some more, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, but we're very thankful to Evelyn for providing that feedback so that at least it gets us going. Before I
Yes.
throw it back to Alfred, though, there's another very good friend of ours here at Echo Radio and have been with us all those 4 years that we've been here on air. He says, I understand the $600 stimulus check has started rolling out. Do you have any information to that? I don't know.
That
Maybe
is
after
correct.
that, you can
That
send
is
me
correct,
something. I
actually.
haven't gotten my yet. So,
Yeah, Steve, I owe a few people, so I don't want to tell you, but I've gotten mine.
That is true.
Yeah, I've actually received mine. When was that? A couple of days ago, about 3 days ago or so. So
Yes.
it's coming out. It's the
Yes.
money is rolling into people's
It is.
accounts, so you should be expecting yours any moment from now.
Yes.
A question for you, Lily. How is the current package different from the previous one? I know it's 600 now, but what makes it different? Did they increase the limits, the qualifying limits, the $75,000? Was it the same the last time around?
Okay. So now, as far as the limits, the threshold for income for
Right.
you to qualify, that did not change. So it's $75,000 for a single person, 112,500 for a head of household, $150,000 for a couple. What changed was the amount that you're receiving. So instead of getting 1,200 per person, you're getting 600 per person. Now, the money you receive for the kids went up a little bit. Before, you only got 500 for your dependents under 18. Now you can get up to 600 for each dependent. Now, something else to that change, which is really great, is for those who had households that had individuals that did not have papers. Now they can apply for the stimulus. Not for those who do not have papers, but for those that have. So if, let's say, I brought my parents and my parents did not have papers, and I did, the first bill they forbidden me, even I was forbidden from applying for that. But now I can apply, even though my parents will not get it. I can get it. And in cases like that, if I go, for those who didn't get the first one, this amendment is retroactively given, which means if you didn't get the first stimulus check because you had a parent or a dependent that didn't have papers in your household, you can still get it, but you'll get it when you file your taxes. So if you miss the first one, you can get it now when you file taxes, but you will completely qualify to get the second one. And then one other thing too that I need to add as far as the thresholds. Sometimes people always say, "Oh, I make more than 75,000, I will not get anything." That's not true. So when your money goes up as far as what you earn, the money, the $600 you get starts to reduce by $5 for each $100 that you make. So let's say for somebody who is earning 78,000, they are making 3,000 over the threshold. That doesn't mean they're not going to get $600. They're not going to get the money at all. What will happen is the IRS will take that $3,000 divided by 100, right? That's 30. 30 times 5 brings us to whatever amount it brings us to, which unfortunately in this case, it brings us to, well, it's 150 only. But that person will be able to get 450 back. So it's not as if you're not getting any money if you make more than the threshold. It just means it will start getting reduced, as it goes until you phase out completely and then you don't get anything. So if somebody is making 76,000, you're still going to get something.
Interesting. Wow. So the piece about the undocumented immigrants.
Yes.
Now, if somebody doesn't have papers, I'm suspecting that they wouldn't have social security number.
That's correct.
So how is the IRS going to, I don't know how they're going to really implement this, because when you file your tax return, you do not typically put on your return people who live in your household who do not have papers.
Yes.
So how would they collect this information and, pay those people some stimulus?
Okay, I can come to that. Sometimes there are people that have applied for certain benefits and they have to disclose the number of people in their household. So there have been times when they have provided that information, even though they didn't have to provide the social security. Okay. So now when the IRS is aware that you have anyone in your house that is undocumented, as it happened in the first bill, what they did was you were not even allowed to apply. So you were not even going to get it. But with this second bill now, they have corrected that. So it doesn't matter if somebody in your household is undocumented, there's no reason you should not receive the stimulus money. So right now, if that happened to you the first time, I don't personally know anybody that experienced that. But if there's somebody listening to us now who had that experience, I want them to know that they're going to get their money the second time around, and they can still get the first money they didn't get once they file their taxes.
Okay.
So Alfred, let me piggyback on that, because I think Evelyn asked a question. So we're talking about undocumented. So she is saying that, okay, so what about everyone who is documented but did not work in the last calendar year? So would they be getting the benefit? That is to say, they did not file taxes, because at least you have 3 years to be able to file your taxes, right? So if they did not file taxes last year, would they qualify to get the stimulus package regardless?
That's a great question, Evelyn. Thanks for that. Absolutely, they should. So it doesn't matter if you file taxes or not. So long as you're living in the US and you're documented, which means you have a social security, you qualify to receive it. The only thing you would have to do is, first of all, I want to say the reasons people don't file taxes, they vary. Sometimes it's because they don't have everything they need to file. Other times it's because they did not earn any income. So if you did not earn any income at all, you just go to the IRS's website. There is a form you can fill just to provide your information. So if there's anybody that fits that category where they have their papers but they did not earn any income, just go to the IRS's website, irs.gov. There's a form you can complete, and then you just put in your information. That's all you need, and you get your check. So it doesn't matter if you filed, you didn't file, you qualify. Now, if you earn income and you did not file, you have to file. So you're better off even making sure that if you don't have everything, still go ahead and file. You can always amend your taxes. The reason you want to file is because you want them to have records of you, and then also to have the means to pay you.
All right. Any anom and enyumre ye aba ye Lily na ye nini etwitwin nkomo afa ye the seamless package ya pass na ya bobo hu kakra ama wa cheche niema nkiti kakra mu afa last one na omo pass ye fans last year de na omo pass ya sena ekoye and na wa cheche mu say pass when ye be bisa more questions be free. And this year, dear, and answer although I'm a person in late last year, dear. And so young fan said this year, dear, na Abana, and then Johnny Wood beside or see checks and I started Alfred Krause on him, Profoca Crow or Mokra or my and I keep. And saying, oh, home questions to be who Facebook, Sasa Yemi about Evelyn or Dini. Questions about also be to me as send it with live feed. Yes, into the live feed. Na ya kind amount. Now yet me every say you nearby question and what me actually ama if so obi ati pa and then na yeah program yeah programming ama wo name say na nti ase bebem because nyama paper koso e wo kroma na and ho say yet me efa ho and fan say it take advantage and as make use of it and so for most of the time, it's because you need a whole information, papa. And today, yatna see I be on a program not dream. And I say, Nanya say, yet to make sure it taking more advantage and as a use of it. And then you know, I dream. Internet and edumedia, the brawa, yes, so fresh, right from the ground, so that also no open to me at Tiasia. Now, so that Alfred Maya Tiasia. SARS stimulus package, Nema a shishimon at dorsal papa. So far now we are just talking about check now, the Bebrayana, and ya busu so far. So Nema a woman a dorsal pantin, Yabakumpa, Yabadum, na Nema a shishimona, na Obia Atiasia, now wow bit me, Anyaho in Fasobiano, not wait to me. Evelyn said, I am so glad I come on the show today. I am well informed and very grateful. Evelyn, what I mentioned, we cried there, say, where your teaser keke, internet. Don't be overly excited, but we are so glad for your support all these years, and we are glad you are here with us. You and your meme and minutes and you work back a stimulus package journey, stimulus package and pass. No, he come with your meaning. And mene wana wanyemi you ni ji Lily ni bla ni bi abi chonwo mane mi ni bi baba o ye ni wo ba nye wana senamo she baby me because wo le wo wanye what take advantage ni me take advantage of it she get fear wo le what take advantage of it no wo fear show na mene koni nyenu no ni ya no nyenu shi ojuba koni no ni bon wa anyo fe lo ni bi ni holomi ni bon o wa anyo ona senamo koni bon ona senamo no ho wo fio mene program wo nye ka ya ko kla nye share wo link koni mepi ana no ni ya no ya ke stimulus package na ida wa denje ne sani wo fe wonye wana no ko ye ewo nye bo anye modern echencho agbele phone lines en koni ganye ta she many of Facebook feed many of Facebook no nye ba nye send in nye live feed koni wakani look question koni wo bi wonye mi you now you egba bo wona enye wona to here then ton nye wo mi le ye nya pa egagbo ya mi tax open ye share fifia government alomi akoiba Congress or pass bill miafo ga President Donald Trump I ha atashi agbalata eta fifia abazu enu ike mikoko etowom ye ega manya ega view ye enu olema yepa ejedo mile wotroya ye yeba nchinya ogblo so far mi ponu ya de jo ega kokoba akokode koba akode mi aba account malo wa akokodo da mi yeba jekomido na mi anyaba a stimulus package a lolo ntontonto eni olema asubo alakapepe yeta mi igada manemia awutalem akpo eni okata lema mia da enya make enya no gere cho enyong yeta Marakumino Toji Michelle Linkana na anyare la shiwa makpoba miafoga Fred Mashak all the way to all the way in Ghana yakra and yeta and say any Fred yadase bebre so ababeka ho Fred Mashak minta yadase so ababeka ho all the way from Ghana yadase bebre into yabeti adwumadi no so ana yen take 2 minutes break bi ho into yabeti a short break na say ba yeni aba na yakasa about yeah checks lay say you share say dien bill and share sa bill mu a say yes yet me share na Fred Meshach said I am impressed with the translation you are doing yo pastor me da say bebre Fred Meshach and all journey all the way from Ghana yadasi bebre. And so we'll take a quick break and then we'll be right back. You are listening to Steve and Afresh Show from Akko Radio, your number one station for the Africans living in the diaspora. We'll be right back after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
I'm on my music. Nama don't kunuso na wajila nyama wiyelo. Fisi macho mado mayina nyama wiyelo. We potanya chonya devi makava sada hebe. Tamado dosi na wada nunye ava eme. Tanyama hanu nyama chijiyo. Makojijo nyama bijiyo. Nusi nyama hiya Yehowa awena mlo. Nyama hanu nyama chijiyo makojijo nyama bijiyo nusi nyama chi Yehowa awena mlo nyama umanda kwalo akpena o nyama akpalo o nusi wona wota mi da kwalo nyama umanda kwalo akpena o nyama akpalo nusi wona wota mi da kwalo madu agbaja na nyama u bobo na nyama u madu ageshe na nyama u alele madu agbaja na nyama u bobo na nyama u baba shiko na nyama u alele yo ya nyetonye nukaye ajingona na futowo wavadenu nye yo ye awavana awonya mawu ya lololo nyamawu ya kekelo nande kemegbe wone yo matabi koko epashi sese ya lejinye abo sese ya lejinye futowo jimo mapomo mele avalate epashi sese ya lejinye abo sese ya lejinye nukuponu mapo ya leo mele bebe o nyamawu madakwelo akpelo si wona wota mi da kwelo awo Yehowa ma da kwelo akpelo si wona wota mi da kwelo madu agbaja na nyama u bobo na nyama u nyamadu ageshe na nyama u alele madu agbaja na nyama u bobo na nyama u baba shiko na nyama u alele akpena o nyama u ye nusi wona wota mi da kwelo akpena o nyama u ye nusi wona wota mi da kwelo hey you chima I'm a king of theater. I'm a king of theater. Chima. Bicho. Bling it. Bicho. Can no see.
Welcome back to Welcome back to Steve and Alfred Show. I hope you are enjoying the show thus far. And we have some of you joining all the way from Ghana. We have others joining from, we have London. We have guests, we have viewers from London, and we have viewers all over the US. We have a Canadian online as well. We'd like to thank you all for sharing, and we'd like to appreciate your support. Today, we are talking to Lily. Lily, she is a CPA. She's a certified public accountant, and she's well endowed with the knowledge about accounting and everything that there is about to know about accounting. We are in the tax season, so we'll talk about that. But today, she's so gracious to spend some time with us to discuss into a great detail what the stimulus package, which has just been passed by Congress and signed into law by the President of the United States of America, it all entails. We began by talking about the direct benefit to you and I, which is the direct check that is being mailed. So if you are joining with us, if you just join us, we're having an in-depth conversation about the stimulus package, what it entails, what is in it for you and for us as well. Don't leave me out. I need to know what's in it for me as well. So that is a conversation we've been having this afternoon thus far. My co-host Alfred from the Washington studio is here with us. So let's continue with the conversation. Please, if you have any comments, just send it through the live feed and we'll be able to read on the live portal, and we'll be able to read that as well. So Lily, you've given us a little bit details as to the stimulus package, and so far we've only scratched the surface of it, talking about the direct mail, the direct check that comes into them. I'm sure most people are very enthused about that, and they are in the anticipation of when that check would hit, considering the fact that we're just coming from the Christmas festivities. And most of us are operating off credit cards at this time to get us through the first half of the next year. So we have Iwin says, "Go, Lily." Lily, you look like you are getting a lot of fans today. And I have one of my dearest as well, Vivian, joining us all the way from New Jersey. And Vivian says hi. So Lily, so if I could ask you though, we've talked about the checks. We've talked about it is in the mail or some have already received it. We've talked about if you are documented, if you are non-documented, if you worked last year, if you did not work last year. But let me touch on if you worked last year. If you did not work last year, you did not have an income. Often now people tend to think that, okay, I don't have to file taxes if I did not have any earned income. Is that necessarily true, that if you don't have any earned income, you don't necessarily have to file taxes?
As far as taxes are concerned, that is correct, sir. If you do not earn income, there is no reason for you to have to file taxes, because taxes are meant for the IRS to look at what you made and make sure that you paid your fair share of taxes. So if you didn't earn any income, there should be no reason for you to file taxes. However, in the case of the stimulus checks that you want to receive, even if you did not earn any income and you're expecting to get some relief, what you could do is go to the IRS's website, and there's a form you can fill out. So this is literally like a unique tax return you would be filing, but it's more for informational purposes, because they recognize that you have not earned any income, so you shouldn't have paid any taxes in the first place, and there was no need for you to have to file. But in order for you to get your check, it will be good for them to have your information. So they have created this very simplified form that just allows you to go in, put in your name, your social security, your address, and your direct deposit information, and that's all it is.
I see. And I know so what say. Moi, And fine say one year juma, we'll touch on unemployment. When you're unemployed, okay, ABI could be part of unemployment. You be sana. And say question you be sana and in it one say last year when you skibia, so when you juma and you skibia. And so no will be a correct, will be a correct. And say IRS any who information say one file taxes and you be as a kaya chiche, ubit me and you be ana. And I yen yabana actually say taxes ne say what any income and I would declare my government national say wait ya a su a son of sanka Sunday so Jenny dear. Wait ya a near so which ya among some and as a winter and as a wait ya man up so and I would dinya your friends saying your friends and the cry kind of say refund na so and so sabasa when you juma and saying when you secure idea and the no point so say and when he has of file taxes and so one file taxes and interest say as a car ya chiche and say usaka with dear was bit me account and say my simplified form be and one is all information mine and know the gusu there's a 3-4 lines be nowadays will bank account at 200 man so house mailing address bam net the honomo and JBR na them fine net them come amount and say obia once I will be a track correct dear we ye juma 1 year juma any abasa will be to me ayebi yo Anna says thanks for all the informations, Lily. Okay, so Anna also said thanks. So Lily, let me come back to you. So we're just talking about end income, and you explained, if you did or if you did not, if you file taxes or not, there is a way that you could. So let's talk about unemployment. What should people who are unemployed expect from this new bill? So let's talk about the unemployment compensation, because that was one of the sticking points that they said the unemployment compensation benefit was going to run out, which it did actually run out, overlap probably a few days or about a week or thereabout. So what is entailed in this bill for unemployment compensation?
So what has happened is the unemployment compensation has been extended all the way through March 14, 2021. So
just 3 months. March is just around the corner, so just 3 months.
Yes, and they've been given supplementary $300 to help with that. So a lot of people had already run out. So if yours had already expired, or you're running out of something, you can definitely qualify for this. It's the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program. And so all you have to do is go back to your state and submit the paperwork. Some states already have it automatically set up, but if that's not the case, you can apply for this because the funds had run out and now there's enough funding to cover.
Okay, so I see my good friend, my co-host for the day, just rejoined. He took a short break to let me out here working as hard as I normally do. So we're glad to have Alfred to rejoin us. So we talked about filing taxes or not filing taxes. If you had an earned income or you did not, then we touched on unemployment just a bit in terms of the unemployment compensation. Welcome back, Alfred. Take it away.
Thank you, Steve. I was listening to you ask about people who, did not file taxes at all. And I heard Lily explain that, you don't have to file taxes if you don't make any income. So Lily, then my follow-up question to that, and I know you were talking about unemployment, but I have a question that I needed to ask about the direct payment. If, say, I'm not employed or I don't have any income, so I didn't file taxes, where do I go to check my status to see whether this check is on the way to me or it's not on the way to me?
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's actually a really good question. So the first thing is I'm hoping that you've gone to the IRS's website and filled out that simplified form so that they have your information and then your direct deposit information. And so if the IRS website is irs.gov, irs.gov. I don't know if we can type it on here. And then on that website, they have a tool which you can click on that tool, which is I think Get My Funds or something like that. And I need to just verify. But when you click on that, you can check the status of your check, if it's been, why it's not yet been deposited, what the update is, and you can reach out to the IRS if you feel like you should have gotten it in the mail because they have all of your information and yet you haven't received it. Are you typing that? Yeah. It's called Alfred, we can't hear you, but it's called Get My Payment. I'm happy you're there. It's called Get My Payment. So if you go to their homepage.
Okay, so if you come to the IRS, this is where you're going to land, right?
Yes, good.
And
I'm happy
so you want them to go to this place where it says get your coronavirus
tax relief. Yes.
You click on that, and then it's gonna say check your payment status.
Yes.
You click on that, and then I guess it's gonna ask you some information here.
That's like get my payment.
Yeah. Okay, it's asking me all kinds of questions, but yeah, so I got the gist. So
yes,
you go through this, and you're gonna end up seeing whether it's taking me to some. Okay, then we'll ask you for your social security, street address, and your zip code.
And all of that, yes.
Okay, let me stop sharing. Great. All right, so Uncle Steve, do you have any follow-up to that, or you still want me to take it away? Because I want to.
Sure, we do have Evelyn does have a follow-up question. Evelyn says, another question, please. Evelyn, you can ask all the questions you want to ask, so don't worry at all. We want questions.
Yes.
It says, what of those who file taxes like self-employed, can they get stimulus check as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So long as you filed your taxes, it doesn't matter if you filed as self-employed or you were an employee for somebody else, you get your stimulus check. So long as you're an American and you have your EIN number and you're documented, pretty much, that's all the qualification you need. You get it. Oh, and then you make less than the threshold. Because if you make more than the thresholds, then you might phase out. But if you're an American and you filed your taxes, be it as an employee or an independent contractor or self-employed, you should be able to still get the check, the deposit.
Okay, quick one about the threshold, because interestingly, what number are they using for the threshold? Because I could be making maybe
that's good.
Yeah, I could be making about $160,000 on my W-2.
Yeah.
Would that be the number they'll use, or would they be using another number, some from your tax return?
That is so good. I'm happy you asked that. No, they do not. They're not using the total income that you earn. No, they're using your adjusted gross income. So for those who have filed like a 1040 before, it used to be an item on line 7. That would be the item. That would be the line. When you get to line 7, it tells you adjusted gross income. That's after they've made certain deductions. That's where you get that amount. That's the amount that they use, your adjusted gross income. Now, for those who filed 2019, I think it's 8B. That was moved to 8B. So if you look at the line item on 8B on your tax return, that's what they use. So it's not your gross per se. It's your adjusted after certain taxes and certain deductions have been taken off.
All right. Good. Okay, so let me transition to small businesses. I think my co-host has.
Alfred, just before you do that, though, so as if you don't mind, sir, we've heard Lily talk about as long as you're an American and you have your tax identification number. So unfortunately, for someone like Fred Mishak, who is joining us all the way from Ghana, but I was going to make a joke out of that. But let me ask you this though. So let's say you're an American and you've traveled overseas and you've been working overseas for some time now, or you just decide to go stay in Ghana and you've lived in Ghana and you don't necessarily file taxes here, but you are still an American. So can you just go to the site as you described and fill the form as you stated, and a check would be mailed to you or sent to an account as well? So let's say you've lived in Ghana for the last 4 or 5 years, but you're an American and you haven't filed taxes for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
Can you just go to the site, fill the form, and then input your information, and bam, you get a check?
All right, I have to say this. Thanks for that question, by the way. So first of all, so long as you're an American, it doesn't matter where you are, you're still supposed to file your taxes, right? You do get tax credits if you have also filed taxes in those other countries. So once you file your taxes, then you should be eligible for the payment. So if, let's say, someone has lived in Ghana for 4 years and they never filed, all they have to do is to meet that requirement of compliance of submitting their tax return, and then they should still get their money.
All right, thank you so much. Before we go back to Alfred, wants to talk about, he's a businessman, so of course he wants to talk about small business loans. I'm sure he's in anticipation that he might get some loan, some benefit from this small business loan. So I would go to Alfred in a second, but let me welcome Philip Senano, my vice president, my former vice president during our time of office. Glad to have you. Agnes Amwa, thank to have you along as well. And Ahima is doing a lot of work out there. And Evelyn says, okay, so Alfred, let's go to the small business loans or the small business packages.
Yes, and the reason is because there are so many small business owners who are our viewers and who also are within our community. So I wanted to make sure we touch on that as well. The first question for my small business owners is this: that the last time they passed the CARES Act, they provided something we call the PPP, which is the Paycheck Protection Plan, or is it protection? Paycheck Protection Plan, which gave certain amount of loans to small business owners, and some of that loan was forgiven.
Yes.
Does this bill also include any additional funding or a boost up of what was given before in the previous PPP package or the previous CARE Act?
Yes, and yes. This is always the sweet part, because we want to make sure that our business people are getting all the help that they can receive.
Right.
So as far as the PPP, yes, there was some funding that was allocated to this next round, and there were a few changes, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll talk about those differences. So the first thing is, for those who the first time, let me go back to the first PPP. All you had to do to qualify is you had to say that you expect maybe to be affected, right? You expected this thing to affect you somehow. Now, when that happened, they gave a lot of money to people that did not need the money. So now there's a second round, and there are a lot of business people that really needed it but did not qualify, and they have been impacted. So what has happened now is businesses are still going to get the money, but the only thing is they'll have to prove that they were truly affected in terms of numbers. So if, let's say, last year in one quarter, let's say the last quarter of the year, October, November, December, you were making $10,000 in revenue. And this time around, you're only making $5,000. So you take the difference, and that's what would show. In fact, so long as it's 25% less than last year, and I want to simplify this, right? So if you divide that 10,000 by 4, it's 2,500. If you're making 2,500 less than what you did last year, then you qualify to apply. So all they're looking for is to see people that have been affected. They're not trying to see your expenses or anything. All they're saying is, if you made money last year and you're made less this year, then you qualify to apply, but it has to be 25% less. Okay.
Yeah, Lily. So I had a client who we had this conversation. This actually came up, and I'm going to present it to you to see how you can what you think about this.
Yes.
This 25% drop in revenue they are talking about, which means if you were making 1,000 before, you have to be making 750,000 now.
Yes.
In order to qualify for the PPP.
Yes.
Now, is that from previous? So they are looking at quarterly, right? So if, for instance, in quarter one you were making 1,000 in 2019, in quarter two they are trying in 2020 they are trying to see how much you are making in quarter one and do that comparison.
Yes.
Is it just between the 2 years, or is within even 2020 And I'm saying this because in 2020, in my client's case, he had a significant drop between quarter one and quarter two. And it makes sense because coronavirus, actually, the shutdown started in March, which was getting to the end of quarter one. So quarter one, he didn't see much of an impact, but quarter two, he saw a lot of impact.
Yes.
Would that person qualify?
No. Okay. No. Oh, let me stop myself. And I have to catch myself because there are many elements here that are included.
Right.
If this person had qualified the first time,
yes,
it's very different now. But let me talk about this comparison. The comparison is between last year and this year. We can all admit that every business was affected by the shutdown, right? So long as you were in business and the doors were closed, it was almost impossible to make money because nothing was happening. There was a lot of uncertainty. So they are not actually using this year. They are using last year because it's a good measure of what has changed for someone who was doing well versus someone whose business has really been impacted. So this year, most people already received the first round, right? But the only concern was because those who received the first round, everyone had uncertainty. Everyone received the first round, but most of the people who got it didn't need it. And so now the people who actually needed it didn't qualify for it. And so now they just want to make sure that the people getting it are people that have some kind of proof that they have been impacted economically. And the only way to prove it is from last year to this year. There are other incentives either way for businesses that have been affected this year. But as far as that quarterly, last year and this year's the same quarter.
Okay. Yeah, it's just a little, because some clients, started their businesses and the businesses didn't grow up to a certain point before Corona came. So even their last year's numbers are not looking as good as this year's numbers, or it's not. There's no much of a difference, and that's where the problem is. And I'm facing some of that with my clients. So I was just trying to see if you have a perspective on that. Okay, Steve, do you have any follow-up on that, or do you want to take some comments before we move to the next thing?
Right, I do, but let's read these commentaries from the Facebook very quickly. And to your information, we are streaming on so many platforms. You can go to Steve's Facebook, you can go to Alfred's Facebook, you can go to Akko Radio Facebook, Akko Radio's YouTube, and then Alfred's YouTube. We are streaming on multiple platforms, and so share the link, share the link as much as you can. Go to any of these platforms, and we are live on so many platforms. But let's go to some of the Facebook feeds very quickly. Vivian from Vivian all the way from New Jersey. New Jersey says a good one there, a good one there. Thank you, Madam Vivian. I appreciate it. So Musa says she knows what she's talking about. If you have not known that by now, you should know. She really knows Lily knows what she's really talking about. So we appreciate Lily being here with us today. So we have a question from Dr. Ofori. Dr. Ofori says, what about non-for-profit organizations? Do they qualify for any form of relief? So we want to stop on that because we know Ahima Sarah also have some information for us. But before we take a quick break, Lynn, can we defer this to you? And can you tell us a little bit about non-for-profit organizations? Do they have any form of relief? So because we do know, we here at Akko Radio, we need some relief very badly. So please, can you tell us we do have something and show us how we can
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad. Thank you for asking that question, Dr. Ofori. I'm sure you guys know part of our expertise is nonprofits. Yes, nonprofits do qualify. So if your nonprofit was running just like most businesses prior to 2020, and you also had employees, you should be able to qualify for the PPP as well. And what's great about this second round is that they have extended it to other nonprofits that did not get it before. So before, it was mostly restricted to the 501c3 nonprofits, which are the public charities. But right now, it's even been extended to this group of nonprofits known as the 501c6. And this is for like chambers of commerce. So if like there's a Ghanaian chambers of commerce that couldn't get it before, now they would qualify for that. So yes, there's relief for nonprofits, and it's important to set up a meeting with an accountant or someone like us to get the guidance. And there are a lot of other relief options outside of this package that the Congress offered, that you can get support for your nonprofit.
So Lily, if I could just ask you though, okay, so let's say you are a non-for-profit organization like Echo Radio, for example. What we do is just provide service to the community. So what about if we do not have a non-for-profit certification that gives us the IRS status, grants us the IRS status of a non-for-profit organization, but the services that we provide still falls under non-for-profit because we do not, all we do is provide services to the community, at large. Can that in itself qualify us as a non-for-profit under the statute and enable us access any of this relief?
Ooh, just the smile on my face, because this is like my baby. Like talking about nonprofits, it melts my heart because I'm very passionate about nonprofits. And unfortunately, Steve, that's why you have to do the paperwork. That's why you need to set up time with me and my team so we can get your 501c3 status completed. And this is why, right? If that was the case, everyone would claim that they're a nonprofit because they are providing a service. So the reason you go through the application is because the IRS wants to ensure that you are legally formed to provide a service, for a mission, and that you do everything in your power to make sure that the mission is upheld. And so they allow you to be tax exempt so people can donate to you to support this mission and get tax write-offs. So now, in giving you the exemption, they know in their system that you're exempt, which means in order for you to keep running, you also need help, because in times like these, people are not given as much as they would. So would you qualify? Yes. But for the IRS to know that you are an exempt organization, you need to complete the paperwork. So please get that done. However, that doesn't mean you cannot apply for the relief. So because you're not yet recognized as a nonprofit under the IRS doesn't mean you cannot get relief. If you were registered since 2019 and you've been operational and you're incurring some costs and you have filed taxes as some form of an entity, maybe whatever entity you're set up as, you could still qualify. But that's a very particular, like that question is very particular to your situation, and I would love to have a conversation with you even off the interview, so that way I can know what your entity is set up as, how you're registered, and give you more guidance in this regard.
Thank you so much on that note. And I know you nearby Lily and any chicken come more and a chicken come up be prayer for near be pray home far your checks a prayer any unemployment any start year your bobo small business any Alfred, my co-host, and then we'll be a question about payroll protection package PPP now, or other situations. And JBR, your Behumisoka Krabi, Yabana will talk about some more friends saying EIDL and home loans, any minority home loans, any Yama Bipre, Yabanswa. Yabekasa about rental assistance, any nutritional assistance. And to menko baby, I feel uncommon. I had the cry and I send our chichimono. Say, you dog. Say, you want to crave, say, Abia, yes, you beat me, and you be big a crave, non for profit. And so, son of a just say, application, and I'll say, a program now, or near bidding common, how. And yet, and also near Dianianum world remit, yeah, down my sippy pray, says no more wire to keep us afloat near down my sippy pray. What would you maybe an answer? We be a we be an you beat me up and one say the left washes the right, and so would do with Juma about now ya bohu de ro amount. na wo so apɛ kakra bi de apia yɛakyi ɛyɛ da well remit yɛ da ɔmo ase sɛ ɔmo kora yɛ mu a nneɛma a yɛyi nyinaa no ɔmo taa yɛakyi. World remit, a better way to send money to Ghana. And say mo a mo tie nyinaa no make sure mo check it well remit to send. It's a better way of sending money to Ghana. Okay, yeah, that must be. Anya mime ngene program bako ingowa she benyele or take a quick break on we about so many other things. Need rental assistance, nutritional assistance, community babawo or back by his signing. No anya kaya ko she in the meantime can you question say nyabanye nyeka nyanya nyeka wo feed no koni wakane ko hanye you are don wa ake nyaba fata wa shane na ni won tuni wa nya you are don wa no fio marako mi kaya fiare ko fi conversation mi po no cho no gado kaka mia adida mabie ne mia trova de mia po no cho rental assistant backplay nutritional assistant backplay minority business ben young after a very short break. You are listening to Stephen Afresh Show from ACO Radio, your number one station for Africans living abroad. Today we're talking to an expert. We're talking with Lily today, and we're talking about a stimulus package. We'll be right back, where we'll continue with rental assistance, nutritional assistance, and so many other issues pertaining to minority businesses and what have you. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break.
It is the senior most community pharmacist, Dr. Tuli.
Tompo Asembeng.
Oh, no lie. Then I say if your driver can't pick you, I make you people give me lift go. Shark is inside now. I'm at say so on link copy. But
Tompo, 11 p.m.
Oh, if it comes a seed in the who give me. I guess some entanglement before that side.
You know they hear social distancing, eh?
To leap from D, same crowd, the whole. As I be young in the Amazon, are they cool? If you no go pick me to catch them in small left.
See, this be the problem. Who tell you say chronically affects youngins? If you know they care about your life, if a guy say NSL over 50 years, away gets hypertension, way poppy to be diabetic. Charlie them their go mess them up.
You are go wear face shield.
And that changes anything? That thing they protect only your eyes.
Plus face mask.
Charlie, the youth will they take this thing for granted. It may not kill you, but if it give you long-term damage to vital organs like your lungs, if you go get for outside cargo house, they give your OGs where them die, will you be able to fend for yourself?
Chama, so I can say because unless I start, they do Yahoo, enter Benino, na funeral cost me this the COVID said make it left one at top. Who?
If people know they follow simple directions like social distancing, hand washing, wearing face mask and things, the COVID don't go anywhere. And the way they make careless there, it be like you no go left with anytime soon.
So to lazy my shadow make beans in.
If you love yourself and the people around you, they house and take your shadow go back cry.
You are here, you more like a dog knee.
And keep fighting with positivity.
Welcome back to Stephen Afresh Show. Today we are talking to Lily. Lily have a certification in public certified accountant, and we've been talking about the stimulus package. We've talked about quite a lot of stuff that is entailed in the stimulus package that have been passed. It's loaded with a lot of good stuff, and she's breaking it down for us. So we're glad for you to be here with us. I will yield to Alfred in our Washington studios to continue the conversation. We were talking about small business loans. Alfred, can you take it away, please?
Yes, Steve, happy to do so. So Lily, thanks for answering all our questions. The one I have for you now is about the same PPP.
Okay.
One thing about our people, in our community, the business owners in our community is they don't keep good records. It's tough keeping records.
Yeah.
So what do they need in terms of papers or in terms of records to successfully apply for the PPP?
Oh, good. That's a great question, Alfred, by the way, because I've been getting a lot of that question. So if you've not had a bookkeeper all this while, I don't want you to lose your mind. I'm hoping that you're going to get one after this. And you can always talk to us. However, if you have not, that's okay. Your bank statements, you can use those. So I'm hoping that a lot of people will go to the banks that they currently use for their businesses to be able to apply for these loans. So when you go to them, they can actually see a lot of that record that you have, showing what was coming in last year versus what is coming in this year for each quarter. So I'm hoping that that's what a lot of our business people will be doing. And even if your bank doesn't want to do it, go to other banks. A lot of banks are looking for your business right now. So if you have your prior year records, and again, I'm talking to people that did not have a bookkeeper, you can go with your bank statement, just show proof of revenue that came in, because you need to have some form of proof of revenue that came in that quarter and revenue that has come in a similar quarter this year.
Okay, great. So there's another loan that was given last time around called
Yes.
the EIDL, the Economic Injury and Disaster Loan.
Yes.
Can you help me and my viewers understand what the differences between that particular loan, what the difference between that one, the EIDL, and the PPP is? And what do you need to qualify for the EIDL loan as a small business?
Okay, that's a good question too. So the EIDL is more of a loan for your business per se, versus the payroll protection plan, which is focused on payroll. However, that has been extended to cover other expenses like your mortgage, like even your utilities and professional fees. Now, that has been extended. However, for the PPP, you have to spend at least 60% of that on your employees, on payroll, in order for it to be forgiven. So that can be completely forgiven, versus with the IDL, which you get from the SBA. It's a loan. It's a loan that comes with a really good, with really great terms that can go up to 30 years at a really minimum repayment plan. Okay, what is great about this one is for people that did not run payroll but still need money, because you have a lot of business people that didn't have employees per se, right? But they need money for their business. They can go ahead and apply for this loan and be able to pay it, gradually over an extended period of time. And they can do a lot more than they would with the PPP. Okay, now, prior to this moment, if you were getting one, it affected the amount on the other. I'm sure everyone knew of that. But what is great about this second round of PPP or of the COVID relief is that it doesn't impact. So whatever amount you're getting from the EIDL does not impact what you're going to get from your PPP. So that is completely separate. And there's been almost 20 million also given to help business people who are applying for the EIDL. So if there's any business person out there that did not qualify for the PPP, this is a good time to submit that application for the EIDL. Now, another thing is that the EIDL, you apply directly through the SBA, but with your PPP, you have to go through the banks. So that's another major difference between the two.
So just go to the SBA's website and apply, right? So if I'm an Uber driver,
yes,
I can apply for the EIDL. What do I need for that?
Just go on the I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, but you just go on the sba.gov website, and just like you put it up, I'm sure you can do, and it has the relief page, and you click on it. They have really simplified the process. And so you go in, you provide your information, you provide what your revenue was and what you spent as far as business, and that's pretty much it. And then they will come back to you, they'll ask for certain documentation, they'll ask for your tax returns, because they have to verify what you're saying, right? And so once they do all of that and you meet the qualifications and you meet everything, they will go ahead and issue out that loan.
What if you have a bad credit?
Oh, so here's the beauty. Even people with bad credit have been able to qualify, because this is to help your business.
Right.
So a lot of people with bad credit have, before it did affect you, but now I think because they really want to help as many businesses as possible, I would say just go ahead and give it a shot. Now, I haven't met anybody who said they didn't get it because of their credit, right? Because this is not your typical SBA loan that you're applying for business. This is a disaster relief loan. So there's a difference, right? Because this is coming in as a result of what has happened. So it's out of our control. There are people that would not have needed this money if not for COVID. So even though they ask for your credit score, I don't think it really applies here as far as, as much as your need, which is what they consider first. So when they see your tax return last year and they see that, hey, this person was making about $50,000 and they have been affected and they're asking for $20,000, yes, they'll probably give you, even if your credit is just, 590, because you need that money for your business.
Okay, I'm very slow, so can you slow it down for me a little bit?
Absolutely. I'm sorry.
So we have two different ways to get money as a small business, and that the CARES Act.
Yes.
In our community, we know there's the lack of documentation. So if you were in a position to advise, businesses in our community, African community, would you say it's a lot easier to get the EIDL, and so they should work towards the EIDL versus the PPP, or the PPP is rather easier to get?
Oh, that's an interesting question, and let me say why. If you had employees, you don't even have to struggle when it comes to the PPP, right? Because your payroll system has the information. Now, if you did not have employees, you can still apply, but then it's a fair chance, I would say, because I don't know what these people do at the back end. I'm going to be careful not to perjure myself on here. If you have employees, the PPP, of course, you should go for it. That's not even something we should be thinking about. But if you're a self-employed person, or of course you didn't have any employees, just go for both. That's what I would say. It's hard for me to tell. I'm not working on the back end, unfortunately.
Right. So with the PPP,
Yes.
chances are portions of it can be forgiven. How about the EIDL? Do you have any part of it that can be forgiven?
Oh, I'm so glad that you said that. The PPP, actually, all of it could be forgiven, so
Okay.
long as you spend 60% towards payroll, and they have extended the different amount of things that you can do with it, right? So before, you could only pay certain expenses, but now you can extend it more. Okay, the EIDL, prior to now, there was a 10,000 part of it that was a grant. I haven't checked yet. I didn't get a chance to check because we've been so into the whole PPP thing, because those have been our focus, and I haven't checked to see if there's been any change with that. So, and I'm going to verify. So maybe I can give you that information to share to the viewers much later, just to be sure what the standard is right now. I haven't had anyone applying. I've just had people wanting the PPP, so that has been been soaking up most of my time.
Alfred, we can hear you.
Oh, so I have one last one on this segment before we transition, which
Yes.
is, what if you're a minority business owner? Because
Oh, yes.
this is a predominantly minority-based show. So if you're a minority business owner, is there something special
Yes.
in this package for you?
Yes. Oh, yes. In fact, this time they have specifically allocated $12 billion for minority businesses. So anybody listening to me right now, if you're a minority, you own a business, there is $12 billion out there. You cannot let this money go like that. So unfortunately, we're still waiting for the SBA to release a lot more information. And that's why I'm careful not to say certain things when it comes to the SBA. So once this bill came out, they've given them 10 days to work on certain applications. Some they have 24 days. And so we will not know for sure what will be the application process. However, there has been money allocated specifically to minority-owned businesses. What's even great about this particular bill, there's also money allocated to those whose businesses are in low-income communities. So if, let's say, your business is in a community that, the average household is almost like poverty level, there is also funds for you. So once the SBA releases some of those applications, we would know a lot more. But there's money that has been allocated. 20 billion has been allocated to people whose businesses are in low income communities. 12 billion has been allocated to businesses owned by minorities. So there's a lot of money out there, people. Let's not leave this go down the drain, okay? We can't miss out. We can hear you, Alfred.
Okay.
Yeah, any
So,
follow-ups from you, Steve?
Yes.
yes, we can't miss out. That is what you're hearing from Lily. Lily is telling us, look, there is so much money out there, especially
Yes.
if you are a minority business owner. So you cannot miss out if you fell asleep on the, on the wheels on the first package that
Yes.
was passed, and you missed out. You just cannot miss out. I think we there was a question that was asked by Alfred. Amago. Alfred Amago did ask a question when we were talking about tax credits and individual and income credits, and how you be able to take advantage of it. So his question was, what about our child credits? And I'm assuming when we file our taxes, we do have child credits. We take child credits. So does this affect the child credits that it's normally allocated during our tax refund season?
Not at all. Not at all. So everything that has to do with this bill has nothing to do with your standard tax filing. So even if you receive this money, it doesn't impact the credits that you get, because those credits, again, they're usually calculated based on your income, and a lot of these funds is not money that you have to report to the IRS anyways, so it doesn't affect your income. And so whatever your income was that qualified you for those credits before, if you're still in that bracket, you should probably still qualify.
Okay, but let me ask you something though. I mean, in the first package, people were saying, look, okay, you're getting this money, and when the tax season comes, expect that you would be taxed, or you have to pay taxes on it to some extent, or it would be taken out of your your tax refund. How true is any of this? You are an accounting professional, and you does accounting services in various categories. So one, was it 1,200 that we got at first, and then now the 600 on top of it? What are the chances that one? I think it's a two-part question. One, it's an income. So every income we need to pay taxes on it, right? So do we factor that into our end income? And two, is there a likelihood that it was money given to us, more or less it was fronted to us, and we have to pay it back?
Yeah, before you answer that, let me just add to that, can you also answer the same for businesses? Because he's asking for individuals, but can you also talk about the tax implication for businesses?
Yes. And I'm so glad that you guys brought that up. So no, that's one thing that the IRS was fighting for, to actually have people pay taxes on this money, and Congress said no. You have to remember, this is disaster relief, right? This is not money that people wanted per se, or they worked to earn it. This has come as a result of circumstances that are unpleasant, that are unexpected, unwarranted. And so Congress absolutely said that this money will not be taxable. Same for businesses. As a matter of fact, with businesses, it's even better. The IRS wanted them to have to pay taxes on the PPP loan, because if you think about it, it's like, additional income coming to you. But again, just like with the individual, no, they will not be paying taxes on any of that money, and they can actually even expense it on their tax return. So they don't pay taxes on it as income, but they can even report those expenses. So it's amazing. Nobody's getting, on the bad side of tax for this, but most people are going to benefit from it instead. Yes.
But the businesses cannot expense whatever was given to them as part of PPP, correct?
No. So, okay. Oh, that's actually the interesting part right now, right? So they cannot. So, normally when you get money coming into your business, it's considered income, right? So once that money has come to you, what is happening now is, unlike when the IRS wanted you to pay taxes on it because you got that additional money come in, no, you cannot. You don't have. No, not if you don't have to. You're not going to be doing that at all. But then if you have your regular expenses for like payroll and things like that, you can still absolutely claim it. Can I say something? Because I know you guys didn't ask me, but I want to point out something to some business people out there. Alfred, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Go ahead.
There is something known as the employee retention assistance credit, employee retention. There are some business people that didn't get the PPP because they knew, their business was not necessarily impacted, and they were like, no, we don't need to get that. We're doing well. I want them to know that if they were able to retain their employees, there's a tax credit that they're going to be able to get for these employees. And I will go into the details much later. For those who want it, they can contact me directly. But I want those that did not qualify for PPP, that didn't get it, to know that if they were able to keep their employees, they do get significant amount of tax credit that they can claim next year when they are paying their payroll taxes. Okay, that's it. Let me not go too much into that. Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you so much. We'd like to talk about rental assistance. We know, and in hard times, as we all fell on, there were series of issues, or there were extensive issues with people not being able to make enough to pay their rent. So we want to find out, is there any rental assistance, built into this program, and also nutritional assistance. We know what we call it, those assistance that we get for what is it, SNAP? I think it's called SNAP also. Those assistance, are they all built into this program? And if they do, how do one take advantage of that as well? So we'll be right back after a short break. We only have 20 more minutes with Lily. And so as I had promised you, I was going to open the phone lines, but let me do so now. You can call 773-960-5416. That's 773-960-5416. And if you have any questions for Lily, you can please call in. Or if you just want to shout out, you just want to tell us we're looking good and we're doing a great job, you can do so as well. We really appreciate it. But for those of you who are on Facebook, continue to send your feed into our live bottle, and then we will be able to read that as well. You are listening to Stephen Afresh Show, and we are talking to Lily about the stimulus package. We'll be talking about rental assistance and nutritional assistance at the other side of this break. We'll be right back after this short break.
I'm on my music. Nama don't kunuso na wajila nyama wiyelo. Fisi macho mado mayina nyama wiyelo. We potanya chonya devi makava sade hegbehe. Tamado dosi na wada nunye ava eme. Tanyama hanu nyama chijiyo. Makojijo nyama bijiyo. Nusi nyama hiya Yehowa awena mlo. Nyama hanu nyama chijiyo, makojijo nyama bijiyo. Nusi nyama ji, Yehowa awena mlo. Nyama umanda kwalo, akpena o nyama wi. Akpelo o. Nusi wona wota mieda kwalo. Nyama umanda kwalo, akpena o nyama wi. Akpelo o. Nusi wona wota mieda kwalo. Madu agbaja na nyama u. Bobo na nyamau, madrageshe na nyamau, alele, madra agbaja na nyamau, bobo na nyamau, baba shiko na nyamau, alele, Yehowa ya nyetonye, nukaye ajingona, na futowo wavadenu nye, Yehowa ya awavanam, awo nyamau ya lolo, nyamau ya kekelo, nandeke magbawa.
Welcome back to Steve and Afresh Show. Today we are talking to Lily, breaking down the stimulus package and all that it's entailed in the stimulus package. We've talked a lot about so many things, but Lily is going to give us her contact because I don't think we've covered everything pertaining to all our listeners. So you can contact her for further information and education on the stimulus package and all that there is. And all that there is that you would like to know. Yes, if you can join the conversation by calling 773 That is 773-960-5416. That's 773-960-5416. And you can call in. We just have a few more minutes with Lily, and then to wrap up here. But if I can go to my Facebook feed very quickly, Alfred, we have Samuel Darcy. Samuel Darcy says, Steve, I am in this. This is Samuel Darcy, Oasis Supermarket Store on Calumet City. Contact us. Okay, so this is Samuel Darcy, one of our fans. I have a supermarket. It says you can contact them for any delivery. Bring your flag here and we'll help you advertise it some more. Sam Darcy will help you with that advertisement. You are listening to Stephen Alfred Show from Echo Radio. We know we've been talking about rental assistance. Alfred, can you take us through some of the rental assistance? Let's see. We know there's quite a number of people that need this assistance. There was some built into their past stimulus package. Is there anything built into this one as well?
Yeah, so I'm going to throw that back to, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to throw that back to Lily. And I guess the question is, in the past stimulus package or in the past CARE Act, they had provided that tenants are prevented from being evicted from their apartments due to their inability to pay their rent up to a certain time. I think that may have just ended. Do you know if this package also extended those benefits to tenants or if something else has been provided?
That's correct. Yes, this package extended it, but it only extended it to January 31st, 2021. However, 25 billion was allocated to this. And I like using the numbers because as a numbers person, I want people to realize that the funding is there and it's theirs for the taking. So if you know that you've had a hard time paying your rent and you know that you've struggled, I mean, it's been a tough time for everybody, right? So go talk to your landlord. You guys complete this application and your landlord will receive the payment for your rents. So the money has actually been allocated to help renters, and landlords cannot issue any eviction until the end of January 2021. So you want to take advantage of this time, make sure you talk with your landlord, complete the application, and be secured at least for a while. Yes.
All right. How about nutrition? What we usually call government cheese.
That's funny. Well, yes, and I'm glad that you asked about that. They've actually extended the SNAP program. A lot of people usually get the food stamps, as they call it, and they're going to be having that extended for 6 months. And 13 billion was allocated to this, which is, quite a lot of money. And not only, are you receiving the food stamps if you've been getting it, but there's been a 15% increase of what you get as well.
Right.
So there's going to be quite, some help coming to families that are in need throughout this time. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, you've helped us answer a lot of these questions, but it seems this is a lot for any individual who's now paying attention to actually understand and navigate and all these applications. So where is that one single spot? Is there a one place that people can go and find all this information? Can they come to you? Should they go to sba.gov or where should they go if they want more information?
Well, depending on what their specific situation is, the SBA is always a great resource for times like this because they have been given quite a task by Congress to maneuver all of this, to help us maneuver all of this, come up with applications and things like that. So it's always great to go to them. The IRS sometimes has some good information, but then if you need it to be dissolved or diluted, then you can always call us. My partner, Sarah, actually happens to be here. And Sarah is from Ghana too. And we're planning to open, part of our company in Ghana soon. So, you have some resources that you can reach out to. And if you have a local accountant too who has been keeping up with this, you can always go to them to dissect some of this. But the SBA, the IRS are always the good, if you want reliable information, it's always good to start from there.
Right. Okay. Steve, do you have any final questions for Lily? before we, yeah.
Before we wrap up the show, right? Okay.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
we've been so gracious to Lily for breaking down this issue of the stimulus package. There is so much that
Yes.
one could have covered within 2 hours. I think this stimulus package takes about a whole week for us to try and break it down and try and understand everything that there is in the stimulus package. But we are most grateful that she did. Okay, we did have some executive orders that were signed by the outgoing president. I don't know if he's going or he's still staying in office. We don't know. That is a matter for another show, right? He's too preoccupied about getting the votes back in Georgia and what have you. But the question I'd like to ask is that those businesses that deferred their taxes, their how do you call it, their tax payment,
Yes.
would they be in a position? Would any of the executive orders that have been issued affect them in any way if you deferred, your business? What is it called?
Payroll taxes.
That you did not pay your business taxes or you deferred it. Would any of the executive orders that has been signed affect it in one way or the other that you know of?
As of right now, off my head, no. I was aware, of course, we're all aware of the deferment, and off my head right now, no, not sure. I don't want to say something incorrect, but I tell everyone, your taxes being deferred does not mean you're not paying it, right? So you still want to have a plan in place to catch up with that. It doesn't exempt you from paying it. It just buys you time. And so as of this, what we've been going through, I haven't come across that yet. That was a 5,000-page document, by the way, and I've been having sleepless nights going through it, trying to find what is relevant for my clients at this time. And so I have not yet touched on that, but I would say, just have a plan in place. Even if you benefited from the deferment, that doesn't mean you're not going to pay the tax. You're still liable for that. You still have to pay. So you want to make sure you plan to do that before the start of tax season, or at least the end of the tax season.
Yeah, so Lily, I caught some of that, and I think for the individual aspect, I didn't catch the one for business. And I think the provision for the individuals is that if you as an individual deferred your taxes, which was one of the executive orders the president signed, if you deferred your taxes, you had until December 31st to finish paying it. In other words, if you didn't pay tax for 6 months, you have to finish paying it by December 31st. But now, this new provision, this new amendment has extended that to the end of 2021. So you have until 2021
to do that. That's amazing. That's amazing. Yes,
for
that's
individuals.
Amazing. Yeah. So again, like I said, that's not something I've touched yet on. So thanks for telling me. And you guys can see this thing is like a whole bossy rolling now. We're still scrambling to get what we can get, the meat we can get out of this. So so thanks for that, Alfred. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Okay, so today we've been talking to Lily, and she's been so magnanimous and giving us so much information, in-depth information about the stimulus package. You can reach us. So Lily, there was a question as to if you can give us the site to look for the application, but how can one get in touch with you? I know you may have said something earlier. If anyone wants to get in touch with you to get more information, and so that you can work with that person on an individual basis, we know our business director here is going to get in touch with you so we can see how we can get things in the right perspective or get things in the right place so that we be able to be in a position to take advantage of some of these things, some of the available opportunities out there to enable us to grow our brand here and our products and our station as well. I know Stephen Kwachi says is watching us. Thanks for joining us, and Johnny Woods also for joining us. Alfred, we'll come back to you, and if you have any Facebook feed on your end today, we are live on so many platforms. We are not able to keep track of all the platforms and some of the feeds that are coming in. Echo Radio, Facebook, we are not able to get and I'll get to them and read everything. But we thank you all joining us on this multiple platforms that we are broadcasting today. And for those of you who continue to share our link, we really, really appreciate it. So Lily, take it away, please.
All right, thank you so much. And I'm just going to go ahead and respond to Samuel. So Samuel, like I had mentioned earlier, the SBA is still working on a lot of these applications. Your PPP can be done through your bank, while the SBA loans can be done from sba.gov. So just keep an eye. They had like 10 days to come up with something. So if you go to sba.gov, you'll probably be able to find something on there. Okay, in order to reach me, you can either email info@arknps.com, info@arknps.com, or you can visit our website, www.arknps.com, or we have multiple numbers, or you can just go ahead, shoot me a text on my business cell, 773-977-5556, or you go to our website, you can find the different numbers for our different offices as well.
Let me
Thank
ask.
you so much,
Thank you,
Alfred.
Sarah.
Can
Sarah,
you take it away before we?
Yeah,
Alfred, can you take it away before we wrap it up, please?
does ARC NPS stand for anything?
Absolutely. Yes, it's now providing solutions. So the ARC's now providing solutions. Yes.
I always thought it was ARC Nonprofit Services. But...
It was. I'm glad you brought that up. That's what we used to be. And then we realized people thought we were a nonprofit because we started out wanting to focus on nonprofit. But then there was a huge need, for us in the business world. Business people were coming because we also have, the knowledge and the skill sets to help them.
Right.
And so we changed that, and it's no longer just nonprofit solutions, but now providing solutions. That way everybody knows that we're here for them, be business owners, nonprofit individuals. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. I've learned a lot today. I've learned that we are getting $600
Yes.
and checks are coming out. So
Yes.
we've also learned that if you don't know when you are getting your check, that there is a way you can find out. Just go to the IRS website. I have also learned that PPP has provided additional funding, that if you're a small business and you have employees, that you should go ahead and apply through your bank.
Less than 300 employees. Thank you. I had to say that.
300 employees. Oh, it used to be 500 employees, but now
Yes, now it's less than 300. Yes, but
Great.
if you have 500, you can still apply for the EIDL.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And I've also learned that there is all kinds of assistance in, rent assistance. There is SNAP programs that are in this new package. She has provided us with numbers, concrete dollar figures that this package has set aside for all the things that we've discussed today. So I've learned a lot. I don't know what you have learned, but Steve, what did you learn today? Did you learn a lot from this conversation? And if you can, sum it up with all the good things you've heard from our guest today.
I have learned that if I have not received my $600 check yet, it should be in the mail. So I shouldn't be looking out for my mailman or be looking out for my bank account to see when it arrives, so that I can also help to grow the economy. The economy has suffered so much under this pandemic, and this this income that is being given to us is to enable us to go out and spend, so that we can continue to keep the economy afloat. So I have learned that check should be coming soon, if it's not yet already there, so I can help grow the economy. And no, I have learned quite a lot today, and especially talking about the payroll protection program and all that there is to it. But the thing that I'm most enthused about is that a company like Echo Radio, we provide services, and then we can easily be deemed as a non-for-profit because we do not sell anything. All we do is to help to facilitate programs like this and services to the community. But it does require that at least we need to file our documentation in place so that we can take advantage of all the other vehicles of help that is out there. So those are some of the things that I have learned today, and Lily had made it very easy for us that just give her a call and she could help. So if you are a business out there, you're offering all kinds of services, but you have not officially documented your paperwork to enable you. Look, Lily, it's a great tool for you to use, and that is what we do out here. Continue to bring you this service. And you know, your Dobias is Mabaka, your home, and your bobo, and your maybe so, and then you didn't come up, Lily, and or Beboy. No, I'll say, Bibia, we hear be a fast stimulus package. From and also bit me on my website. On my website, and a good platform, no sooner. ARKNPS.com, nps.com. Na obi utan ebekamo na bibio here bia na obi timi. Na yedamase bebre say anase obi timi afro I was obi timi afro I was 773-977-5556. Yes, 773-977-5556. On my phone number, obi to me from I was so then you here be a program because program idea idea ya ba ama menu winina and the maintenance say na anka say oh let me name sa with Steve show Steve and Alfred show ya so actual internet obia intimate taking advantage of it near winti asia biana and pacho pisa na yan chichimo anyame me wadanya shie wadanya shaka me na onye ba fata wahi ni woke wanya mi yo ekbasane echan wani pipi mi nka se ni bi papa o I hope I can go okase noko yemi shi amahani ekewa agbena dani wobagbe magwe ebeni wokegbe program. So Lily, we before we wrap up, your final words and anything you want to tell our viewers and our listeners, because we have others that have tuned in on our Echo Tune app as well and listening on air as well. So we have listeners all over the place from Ghana, through Europe, here through North America and elsewhere that you would not know. So if there is anything else, your final words before we let you go, please.
Thank you. First, I want to thank everyone that has come on to view the show. I want to thank Steve and Alfred. Thank you guys so much for having me. There's always just it's such an honor to share the little knowledge I have with our our community. My one word for everyone in our community: please keep accurate financial records. If I don't tell you anything, starting this moment, start to maintain accurate financial records. A lot of us have missed out on so many opportunities because we never invested in that. We invest in everything else in our business except a good accountant, a good bookkeeper, or a good CPA. So make sure you have someone that is helping you keep track of your records, because it would help you not only be able to get funding like this, but it would attract investors. It will help you save in taxes. It would open more doors for you, and it will help you plan and strategize. So for everybody out here who is doing a business, if there's one thing I have to leave with you today, start keeping accurate financial records. And if you've never started a business, please know that there couldn't have been a better time. If you have something in your heart you want to do as a nonprofit or a business, please wait no more. 2021 should be a year of action. So those are my last words. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks for giving us all this good information today. And Lily, we've been friends, so I always count on you for times like this that I need somebody to break down complicated financial laws that are passed or complicated accounting issues. So again, you've delivered today, and I'm so happy about that. You have a place here. Anytime we have some topic like this, be sure I'll be reaching out to you, and hopefully you'll be gracious enough to come back and talk to us again. Thanks for coming, Lily. Steve, over to you.
Thank you so much, Alfred, for coming on the show again. And I hope that we can continue to do this. It's very interactive, and it's been so much fun to have you on with your in-depth knowledge about the area of financing and the area of just digging information. And Alfred also have a show on this radio station every Sunday. That is the Ghana Agenda every Sunday. And what is that? Is it 5 to 6 o'clock Eastern time or Central time, right? So watch out for that. Yeah, just continue to follow us. So that you can get the notification anytime we are live. We really want to appreciate Lily for coming in today and sharing, and also my good friend Alfred sharing his friend, and he's a resource person with all of us today. It's been such a blast, and we've really enjoyed 2 hours. My friend used to say this is one of the fastest 2 hours in the in show business. So we thank you all for joining us. Iyo no view akpena mi ba kpere mi angu wo try amiga wo now. But me don't kujiba Steve Bakler Afresh show this year as Steve Bakler Afresh show. Joda Sha Joda le gaton koko yide gantre yishia mi kwa mi lafia. Menya ameke mi akpo no avade nyado na mena mi alo wakpere mi angu mi ajo nyado mo. Minyaba Steve show yishia yikwa mi la doji mi do wom nami. Mi akpla movie no akonyo na mi enye ke atu akpede enye gbakple ewo mu yebo do onye mi wo wom lavia akpena ameshamelo yo eni anom aha ena edi enedi enso edibesi yedam asese mu abaka ye ho and then so yabobo ye the stimulus package next week the same time ye 5 to 7 me eneminia Alfred ye besa apa na yabobo ni amebebro ho mon kai say Steve show one Steve and Alfred show one of the best show in show business and so na enya no kwa any program ye na Ako radio ye call ye name programs ye na ha no mo na yentime mbobo ni nyina so and so no mon koso na monti ye damase se mo boy and so yes extra mo say we tie na say wo adwuma bi na say business bi na say services bi we ye bia to say well remit say omo ababeka ye ho omo boy na so yeah omo ye na so ye bohu dero no sa na wo so no ne wo ye bia na obetime abadi aba na yetime abohu dero ama na so afeka krabi e di apia ye chi ye da wase bebre so ababeka ye ho enwumre momfa mo video ne to ha no mo ye fi efidie so still am wetime tie of there wo ho no bebre this year the programs they are lining up no a doso pa there will be access my baby kaya home. Medin Eddie Steve and Aminia yeah Alfred Amuzo Washington and Eddie Ejumedie Abro Enyumre and then now I change to Ebesa Abba. Thank you so much for joining us again, especially all of you on our Facebook and wherever you may have been listening to. We really, really appreciate you. Are the wind and ourselves, so we continue to appreciate you, and we also continue to count on your support for this station to continue to go the length at which we have. So thank you so much. Until next week when we come, we hope that you will join us again. I'm Steve and Alfred from Washington studio. We say take care of yourself and each other. Peace we out. We leave you on the wings of can we close the show on the wings of who do we want to close the show with? My producer. We would like to close the show with one of our best. Thank you so much, Lily. Thank you again for joining us, and thank you all. Peace we out. We'll see you again next week, same time. Bye.